Watchtower.
A world of confusion now around a president-elect who seems to be doing all the right things when it comes to sending a populist message to corporate America, letting them know that he's the boss and the buck and the overbucks will stop with him. And all of this on the same day he is forming a national trade council that he says would look after American workers and their interests and not necessarily corporate honcho's interest. If you're noticing a pattern here, you are not alone. Donald Trump, as president-elect, has sent a message to the corporate titans, no matter if they're in industries dear or in favor of Republicans or not. I'm watching you. I'm watching excess, and I'm watching your contracts. Just take a look.
It's a dance, you know. It's a little bit of a dance. But we're going to get the cost down, and we're going to get it done beautifully.
And your conversation with Boeing seemed to produce some positive results?
I think so. We had the chairman of Boeing, CEO, and I think we're looking to cut a tremendous amount of money off the press. And I said to some of the folks, I said, companies are not going to leave the United States anymore without consequences. Not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
All right. Now, he's been criticized by many on the left who said this is all theater at that and something that won't yield results. But we already have gotten a commitment, haven't we, from the head of Boeing that Air Force One deal that is so precious in Washington and has seen escalating costs in Washington might not come in at the $4.2 billion it was rumored to be, and it might be a lot less because of all of this jawboning. Then there's Lockheed Martin with that F-35 fighter contract that the president-elect has also said seems a bit excessive. Now, here's what's remarkable in both of those cases, folks. These are signed and sealed and presumably done deals. Apparently not. To Anthony Scaramucci with the Trump transition team, who joins us on that. You know, Anthony, there's so many levels on this defense thing alone that bears focusing with you. Is he letting all government contractors know, I don't care what you have signed and committed to, it's not done? And if that's the case, by citing two defense guys, is he reminding everybody, yeah, even the defense guys near and dear to traditionally Republicans?
Listen, I don't think we want to go that far. I think that he's more or less saying that he wants to look at things clinically and take another cut out on it on the behest of the American taxpayer, Neil. So my guess is that some of those contracts are fine the way they are, but some of them probably have some excess costs built in there. You and I are old enough to remember the $800-900 hammers during the Reagan era.
Well, you are. I wasn't even born, but I understand that was a problem.
You were in kindergarten when I remember the Grace Commission, Neil.
Exactly.
And that Grace Commission basically exposed a lot of this creeping cost reassignment in the Pentagon, and we need to bring those down. But I got to tell you, you got to love the spirit of the president-elect. He's out there pushing on behalf of the American people. He's sending a message. I don't know if you read The Bully Pulpit by Doris Kearns Goodwin, but it's reminiscent of Teddy Roosevelt, where he's really out there for the American people.
Well, a lot of people have likened him to that's the approach he would take. Get in your face, use the bully pulpit, even though it technically isn't at that point to have the bully pulpit.
Sure.
But if just the president-elect doing this, what signals do you think he is sending? What's his goal here?
I think his goal is that he wants to put American workers first. He wants to put the middle class first. I think his goal is, okay, fat cats, and this is what Teddy Roosevelt did. He basically got everybody in a room and said, you robber barons, you have to stop the nonsense, and you have to put a system in place so that the middle class can have rising wages. And if you remember Henry Ford, he said, we're going to allow these people to be able to make enough money to buy the cars that they're actually making. We're going to make sure that they're in nice houses and they got good public school systems. And so with that, the social contract gets reinforced, Neil, and there's more peace and harmony in the republic. And so Donald J. Trump is absolutely committed to that. He's one of the most commercially instinctive people I've ever met in my life. What I love about all this stuff, and not to get too cheeky about it, is that these CEOs see him coming. You know, he'll take out a scalpel when he needs a scalpel. He'll take out a chainsaw when he needs a chainsaw.
Why did the Boeing CEO talk to the press after the meeting, but the Lockheed Martin CEO, well, she didn't. She just bypassed it. Was she ticked off? Was she angry?
I think they've had different public relations strategies. You know, I think at the end of the day...
I think you're blocking. I think you know exactly why. And I think that she was angrier than the Boeing CEO was.
Maybe, Neil, but I honestly don't know. My guess is that there are different public relations strategies, and some people are a little bit more conservative than others in terms of how they speak to people. You and me, we have a tendency to overtalk. She's probably undertalking.
Speak for yourself.
She probably should have gotten out there.
Well, let me finally, before you go, this idea that with this trade council, there have been some talk that he's open, that is the president-elect, to tariffs and the like, maybe across-the-board tariffs. And that has raised some eyebrows against countries that he thinks are not playing fairly. First of all, is that true? And as a well-seasoned money guy yourself, does that worry you?
Not true, and I would say that that's unfounded. And Peter Navarro and I spent an enormous amount of time together up on the 14th floor at Trump Tower, and all we're really doing is looking for more fairness. We're looking for cross-border stuff. I don't want to get into too much detail because I don't want to run out of time, but if BMW is shipping a car over here, they'll rebate the 22% VAT tax because of the way the tax structure is in Germany. If we're shipping a car over there because we're on a corporate and income tax model, it's very hard for us to give that same rebate. And so we need a tax border reconciliation. We need to figure out what to do with the repatriation of the income taxes.
But are we going to have any protectionist stuff going on here? I mean,
I don't think so, Neil. If you talk to Wilbur Ross, who's a friend of yours, you talk to Peter, these are bargaining chips on the table. There's been
Peter's also been very critical of China and how it plays a rigged game, and written a book on the subject.
The truth of the matter, he has, because the system is unbalanced. The State Department and Treasury made it unbalanced because they wanted to create burgeoning middle classes around the world because they thought that would give us greater economic interdependence, which would lead to less conflict. That's effectively worked, but it's had the deleterious side effect of hurting the middle class and the working class communities in our own country. And so we're sending a message. We have to look out for those people right now. And by the way, if we look out for those people, Neil, it'll be better for globalism because there'll be more demand for products emanating from the United States, the largest market. So we're going to get this right, Neil. We're spending a lot of time focused on it. Merry Christmas to you and your family.
To you as well, my friend.
And Happy Hanukkah to your viewers out there. And I love being on with you.
Same here, my friend. I knew you when, even when I knew you in those early days, you were a big deal. Anthony Scaramucci, Trump transition team.
Back in kindergarten, you and me, Neil.
You
back
and
in
me.
kindergarten, 1985.
Yeah, but you went places. You went. I'm still waiting. All right. Thank you, my friend.